Hey, welcome back to Weekend Edition and our rehash of some of the big stories of the past week.
And on Guam, there's always something going on. The week started off with the announcement by Senator Dennis Rodriguez Jr. about plans to build a new Guam Memorial Hospital. The lawmaker announced the formation of a special task force, which is comprised of stakeholders from the public and private sector. Now, the hospital will be built on government of Guam property and must be sufficient to accommodate the island's anticipated growth and include specialty centers that meet the demand for treatment of non-communicable diseases, a heart center, as well as a maternity center. Then that's just naming a few. Now, although it's not clear where exactly this new hospital will be built, it is expected to cost $200 million. And that, of course, begs the question, well, where is this money going to come from? The senators introduced Bill 80, which would refund some existing bond obligations. And this, of course, is no overnight project. The first meeting of this new task force is scheduled for next week. So, what do you think about the possibility of a new GMH? We posed that question on social media, and Quad Diggy commented on KUAM.com. They can't even handle the current hospital, and they want to build a new one. LOL, too funny. Well, also funny, joke political analyst Ron McNitch shared with Rotarians this week. Let's listen in.
On gay marriage said gay people should have the right to be just as miserable as everybody else. And, you know, there's some truth to that.
Well, the joke may have been funny, but the topic really is no laughing matter as the community waits for the governor and his legal team to complete their review on the issue of same-sex marriage. The wave of discontent continues to come ashore from national organizations. We heard from Lambda Legal this week about the controversial issue. We also heard from a former Guam resident, David Cruz, who is actually on a reality show on Bravo Network called The Millionaire Matchmaker. And Jolene, that's a story that you've been covering all week. And
yes, marriage equality has been debated. Everybody's weighing in on the matter now. And so, like you said, David Cruz from The Millionaire Matchmaker, he was born on Guam, moved out to the States, and he is also a gay man. And so he shot a little YouTube video calling for the community to step up to the plate and take action and to accept marriage equality, really. And he did it because he wanted to show the LGBT community here on Guam that he supports them and that he stands for marriage equality. Also was Ron McNitch, as you said. He conducted a poll, and 55% of those polled were in support of marriage equality. 29 were against it. Now, this is a 5% increase other than a poll conducted 4 years ago. So, you know, he says that marriage equality is here to stay. And then also, the governor, you know, he's been asking for everybody to have patience as his legal team reviews the matter. And the church actually weighed in on the matter, and they say they're not against persons with homosexual tendencies, but they are against same-sex unions because it's a threat to the definition of marriage. And they also say that the government did not invent marriage, and therefore the government can't redefine marriage. So everybody's weighing in, and one person on Facebook also shared his thoughts on the matter, Tony, and he says, if same-sex marriage is against God's word, why is divorce acceptable? It becomes discriminatory when same-sex unions are prevented from legally marrying.
Right, well, that is an interesting point. Now, we should add that the U.S. Supreme Court is scheduled to hear arguments on same-sex marriages this week. Moving on to another story involving the courts, District Court of Guam Chief Judge Frances Tadiko Gatewood, she issued one of several opinions in the order of consent decree case. Isa, that was your story.
So as we all know, the Dededo transportation is the most heavily used transfer station here in Guam. However, the government of Guam has elected to close the transfer station in order to save an estimated $3 million that would otherwise be needed to provide upgrades to the facility and keep it open. However, $4.3 million is still needed to upgrade the Agate and Malolo transfer stations. And so although this will save $3 million, there are a lot of other considerations to take into account. For example, the Dededo facility has been a victim of illegal dumping and hazardous waste. And so this will still be an additional cost that hasn't been factored in yet. And another implication of this closure is that it will delay the transfer from the federal receivership to the federal government, which was scheduled for this December. So on our KUAM.com website, under Aware commented saying, closing the heavily used facility is a mistake. The government of Guam will ultimately be required to clean it up regardless. No money will be saved. Closing the transfer station will only jeopardize the environment further as residents find less acceptable alternatives for trash disposal and suffer a tremendous inconvenience. Senators need to fund this and keep it open. There is no reason why taxpayers should not shoulder the cost to clean up a mess they are ultimately responsible for.
Well, speaking of closures, the announcement was made this week that a local Catholic high school will be closing its doors. And Crystal, you covered that story.
Yes, St. Thomas Aquinas Catholic High School will be closing its doors at the end of July, which is the end of their summer school. And this news came out of the Archdiocese of Agana, who informed the school that the closure comes as a result of small student enrollment and lack of financial resources. The school opened back in 2008 with a very, very small population, only 15, and over the years has fluctuated, and today has 55. So,
and you were there, right?
I was there today,
Yeah.
or I'm sorry, I was there Friday morning, and it was
Really
very emotional morning. Students were crying, students very quiet, but you could tell that, actually I was speaking to the principal, Pilar Williams, who was saying that, even if they close their doors, they're going to take their Aquinas spirit to whatever school that is fortunate to get them. Mind you that these are some of the best and the brightest students on island. Many of them graduate with full ride scholarships to Ivy League schools, award-winning mock trial teams, musicians. Oh, very, very bright students. They'll be graduating 10 seniors this year, and that will be the last graduating class for St. Thomas Aquinas.
And what are people saying online?
Online, on KUAM.com, we have Keith Wara saying, not surprised at all. The school set unattainable goals. Too much emphasis was placed on being a top-notch school. Stringent requirements made the school less competitive.
Well, we certainly, if you have any stories that you'd like to share with KUAM, pictures, videos, you can send us a message and also tag us on Facebook, or you can also just email us at reporters@KUAM.com.
That's it for Rehash. Stay tuned. Weekend Edition continues in a moment.